I remember in your class a few years ago when we were reading Faustian, I ran across a sermon entitled "The Ideas That Have Used Me." What ideas have used you? You were talking a minute ago about getting some ideas. What ideas have used you?
One idea that has used me is that the faith of black people has been the most invaluable thing that saw them through whatever they had to go through, created through them all of the institutions that they needed for themselves, gave them the sense of a church with a mission that begins with those who are disinherited and disenfranchised and dispossessed, disregarded, disrespected, that the church, that God, that Christ had not forgotten us, had not abandoned us, and had not left us to our own devices or to stew in our own juices. That is a great idea, that at the very moment that you are rejected by the culture, rejected by the world, rejected by the society, rejected by... Nietzsche said way back that the black person has an empty head, and if he is thinking anything, it's a nasty thought. Little do they know that the theologies that we have, the visions of God that we have, our understanding of the human situation, how to get out of the human dilemma, how to be a human being in an inhuman world that has treated you inhumanely. All of that comes from our faith in God. And the best way to have faith in God is not to be given anything else that you can have faith in. You can't depend upon American law, you can't depend upon American academic institutions because they will not educate you in the first instance. You can't depend upon the white banks, and white legislatures, white Congress, but you can depend upon a God who identifies with you in order that you may identify with that which is highest and lowest. And I find it's a great thing. The idea that really loses me, uses me, employs me, corrects me, sustains me, inspires me, that God favors us, visits us, liberates us in bondage, long before we can ever be liberated from bondage. And with that, we've got a story to tell. We've got a sermon to preach. We've got a shout to shout and a jump to jump. Because this is what God has done with us. And He has given us joy. And you go into the churches of the privilege, there's no joy. There's no delight. They're just looking at their watches so they can get out of there. And when they're looking at their watches and they think it's all over, we're just getting started. That uses me. The presence in the midst of the absence. The riches at the very heart of poverty, the very heart of denial. There's deliverance, and we can celebrate it. My uncle talked about this old lady that reared him. His brother was dead, his father was dead, didn't have any money. The house was so poor, so poorly constructed, that you could see the cracks in the walls and on the floor, and the cold air would come up where they were sleeping. And that this Aunt Julia that raised him would get happy in the middle of the night thinking about Jesus. And start shouting, honor to Jesus, honor to Jesus, honor to Jesus. And get up without a house coat, just in her wool house gown. But walk around the room and shout, honor to Jesus, honor to Jesus. He said it was something about her ability in the midst of poverty, deprivation, obligation, she was willing to shout. And he said, there's something to this thing. There's something to this idea of a God who stoops from the highest to the lowest and gives them what people at the top of the culture do not have and cannot feel. feel sorry for William James that could write a great book about religion, but said he never got religion. He never felt religion. He never had the experience. I can analyze yours, but I wish I could have that experience myself. Well, we have that experience.
Okay.
We know what it means to be born again, to be made rich in poverty, and to be made joyful